What's up, you guys? It's Deal926 here. I wanted to come out and make a video on Tiki Barber and his latest comments about how Tom Coughlin wasn't the reason why he retired early. I wanted to talk about Tiki and how, like, Tiki to me is like one of the ultimate giants. He's one of the greatest giants of all time, hands down. Nobody else could say any different. That guy was so important to this team and this franchise for so many years. I mean, that guy, he put this franchise on his back, especially in the final seasons that he played, the last 3 years of his career. You know, when Eli Manning was drafted in 2004, and then the following 3 seasons after that. I mean, the man had 3 consecutive seasons of 2,000 yards from scrimmage. I mean, the guy was an absolute beast. I mean, you couldn't have asked any more from Tiki Barber and what he gave this franchise and this fan base. And, I mean, still to this day, how fans of the New York Giants actually badmouth this guy just because of what he said about Eli Manning and Tom Coughlin, which I don't necessarily agree with what he said about Tom Coughlin, but I understand definitely what he said about Eli Manning, 100%. Because, you know, when he played with Eli was definitely an up-and-down guy. He wasn't the most consistent quarterback in the world, and even in 2007 when he won that Super Bowl, you know, you're talking about a guy that had a 56.1 completion percentage throughout the season until the playoffs started that season. So whatever Tiki said about Eli was completely true up until that point. And I have made that point in other videos that I have made on other videos on this channel. But as far as what he said about, you know, Tom Coughlin and everything, you know, I kind of understand where he's coming from. You know, Tom Coughlin was a no-nonsense guy. He was a general on the field. You know, he expected, you know, 100% from all of his players at all times. He wanted you to show up to the field properly dressed, no socks below the knees, this, that, and the other. I mean, he just, every single detail he was on top of. And if you were a guy that kind of just neglected the things that he was saying and just didn't respect what he was saying, he would definitely make you pay for it. But you know, when it comes to Coughlin and what Tiki had to say about him, you know, I kind of understand where he's coming from. You know, these guys are, you know, 25 to 30 to 35 years old. I mean, these are guys that are professional athletes. You know, you need a guy that's going to push you, but how much do you need a guy that's going to push you? I mean, every single one of these players made it to this level because they have the will to play the game. There's no reason you're going to line up with them. You're not playing for a paycheck, basically what I'm saying. I know a lot of people out there think these athletes are just playing for a paycheck. And that's not true. Because if you're a professional athlete and you made it to that level, all your intentions are beating the other guy on the other side of the field that you are lining up against. That's all you're thinking about. Now me, I'm a former athlete myself. Now I didn't get anywhere close to what any of these guys ever have gotten to in their career. Not even close. But, you know, I played high school ball, this, that, and the other, and I played, you know, metro ball when it comes to baseball and stuff like that. So I kind of understand where they're coming from, but I don't understand where they're coming from. But when you're on the field, all you're thinking about is beating the other guy that is lined up against you. You're not thinking about your paycheck. You've got too much pride to even think about your paycheck. All you're thinking about is beating that guy one-on-one that lines up against you. So you don't necessarily need that general looking over your shoulder, talking about this, that, and the other, telling you what you're doing wrong, you know, over and over and over and over again. And I can understand why Tiki would say that would get annoying to a point and to an extent. I kind of understand where he's coming from when it comes to Tom Coughlin. But, you know, I didn't, like, when he initially made the statements about Coughlin and everything, I didn't really agree with it. But like I said, to an extent, I kind of understand where he's coming from. But the stuff he said about Eli, regardless if Eli won a Super Bowl in 2007, yes, I completely understand. Because Tiki Barber put the New York Giants on his back and did everything he possibly could to make this team succeed the first 3 years Eli Manning was in the league. And Eli Manning owes a lot of his career, especially the start of his career, to that man Tiki Barber. Because if he didn't have Tiki in the backfield, Eli may have never made it to year number 4 with the New York Giants. And that's the God honest truth. And if any other Giants fan tells you any different, that they're just lying straight to your face. But man, Tiki was awesome. I love watching Tiki play. I mean, every single Sunday, as a Giants fan, watching Tiki line up in the backfield, that was one of my favorite things as far as tuning into a New York Giants football game. Because every time Tiki got the ball in his hands, you didn't know if I mean, there was a chance that he was going to break a 50 to 75-yard run on any given play, especially playing behind guys like David Deal, Chris Snee, Sean O'Hare, Kareem McKenzie, and shoot, who else? Richie Schubert. I mean, he had an awesome line in front of him. I mean, I mean, everything just worked for him, but Tiki had a lot of ability at the same time. Tiki had agility, Tiki had acceleration, Tiki had great balance. Tiki was just a good all-around football player. And yes, it took him some time to actually get it going and actually find his niche in the NFL. Because, I mean, yeah, he played with Ron Dane for a period of time, and Ron Dane was kind of sharing some carries with him, and Ron Dane was absolutely terrible. Why we even wasted time with Ron Dane, I have no idea. But, you know, he was a first-round draft pick out of Wisconsin, and that's just what they did. I mean, that's what NFL franchises have a tendency to do. When you draft somebody, you know, in the first round, they're going to give them all the time they can on the field. But you know, Ron Dane was a waste of time, and Tiki should have been getting the carries in the first place. But he wasn't a back at the time when he first started his career where he could handle the load, so I understand why they split it. But as his career gradually went on, I mean, Tiki became that guy, and he proved to everyone that he could shoulder the load and be that #1 running back that the New York Giants could count on. And he was just awesome to watch, man. He was a great player. Me as a fan, I was at the first game that Tiki broke the New York Giants single-season rushing record for a single game. I was at that game against the Kansas City Chiefs in New York. I was at that game where he broke that record, and then I was at the Redskins game at FedEx Field when Tiki broke his record that he initially broke against the Kansas City Chiefs. I was also at the Redskins-Giants game where he broke that record. So I saw Tiki break the New York Giants, you know, single-game rushing record twice. So, I mean, he definitely has a soft spot in my heart when it comes to this franchise. I mean, Tiki was the man to me. I love Tiki Barber. I don't care that he didn't win a title for us. I had so much joy watching Tiki Barber play the game for us. And, man, he is an all-time great Giant to me. And I love Tiki. Tiki's going to get in the Hall of Fame. There's no reason why Tiki Barber shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. You're talking about a guy that has 15,000 all-purpose yards. 15,000 yards from scrimmage. I mean, he's a guy that he's got 15,000, you know, all-purpose yards. He is 15th. Hold on, I've got this screwed up. No, he's 15th all-time on the all-purpose yards list. So, I mean, that alone, only playing in 10 years, should get him in the Hall of Fame. When you're 15th among the greatest players that have ever played this game in all-purpose yards, you should be in the Hall of Fame. So, that guy should be there. He'll definitely get there one day. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. But Tiki Barber, man, I can't say anything bad about Tiki. Tiki was awesome. I love Tiki to death. He's one of the greatest Giants to me, and he will always be. I mean, we'll see what Saquon does if he can stay healthy and actually approach the records that Tiki Barber put up. But, man, he's got his work cut out for him. He's definitely got to stay healthy, which has kind of been an issue for him up to this point. But, yeah, if he's going to eclipse anything that Tiki did, regardless if Tiki had a slow start to his career, you know, Saquon's got his work cut out for him. But, I mean, Saquon can do it. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. But, you know, Tiki's one of a kind, man. He's, regardless of what he ever said about this franchise, man, Tiki's the man to me. Tiki will always be the man to me. I love Tiki. That's pretty much it for the video. You guys take it easy. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you later. I've got that prediction video on the New York Giants season coming up. I know it's kind of been delayed, and I haven't put it out, but it's on its way. You guys take it easy. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you in the next one. See you.